Hi Internet, welcome to the Troyan YouTube channel here with another rocker reaction. What are we reacting to today? Oh man, what could it be? What could it be? It's Nightwish. We are reacting to Ghost Love Score by Nightwish. So, I actually just recorded a reaction to this, and then I was checking the video file, and it corrupted! So this is actually a second listen of the song. Which is actually probably a good thing, because my general assessment of the piece, going into it, I thought the lyrics were brilliant. I read the lyrics beforehand, thought the lyrics were really good, but I had a bit of trouble latching on to some of the melodies. And so I'm going to listen again and see if I can latch onto them a bit further and appreciate it, because one of the things I said in my review, which you will not see because the file corrupted, was saying that this is a song that I think would benefit from repeated listen. So it's going to get the second listen, and you're going to get my commentary and analysis. Before I get into the commentary and analysis, just a quick housekeeping. Let me give you some ammunition to go after me in the comments. So, my general music taste, I'm generally more of a classic rock kind of guy than a metal guy and a symphonic metal kind of guy. I tend not to like a clicky kick drum, so basically that sound that Lars developed on And Justice for All and then every metal band copied. Hate that drum sound, not for me. And a lot of symphonic metal, I have trouble latching on to the melodies because it just doesn't resonate with the core of my being. So, I like classic rock, I like R&B, I like jazz, I like punk, I like Japanese folk music, I like Disney musicals, I like a lot of different things. So I'm not just in one little box musically. But typically, the Scandinavian power metal kind of stuff doesn't move me because I tend to like drums with a little bit more swing to their playing, and the melodies just don't necessarily grab me very often with those groups, and I tend to put a very high emphasis on vocal melody. But I think the lyrics for this piece are really, really brilliant. You know, it's a bittersweet song about pining for a relationship and remembering the good times, sort of mourning the loss of a good relationship. So I think the lyrics are brilliant. I think the band played really well in this live performance. I thought all of them were really great. And I thought the composition was overall very strong, and I actually gave it an A on my listen to it, where I had some grievances with the vocal melody not moving me emotionally, but everything else was really great, from the chord structure to the build, the dynamics, the different sections. And I said that in my analysis that it was very much like a classical piece where they didn't give you that much time to savor a melody line, because it would quickly move on to another melody line, which is something that is more common in classical than in modern pop and rock and metal. And so because you're not getting the time to savor the melody line, they're just like, fuck you, we're moving on to the next thing. That's kind of what Nightwish does, which in some ways makes them more authentically classical than a John Williams score, in terms of what they're doing composition-wise. So those were also my analyses from the first listen, and like I said, the ammunition. For the people who just want to say, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, he sucks, etc., etc., like a lot of the Tool fans that came after me, I'm going to post links in the pinned comment below, so you can see my favorite musical artists, and also see my band, so you can say, oh, this guy has bad taste and makes bad music, so you can just, deflect that way, rather than it be a grievance of taste. So any issues I have with the band is just my personal taste, my preferences, but just so people can at me in the comments and attack me that way, I will provide you the ammunition for you to do that. I've been warned that Nightwish fans are very passionate, much like Tool fans, and I got really attacked hard by Tool fans for some lukewarm reviews on the band that I gave. But this song was a better first impression than I had with the first few Tool songs I did, so I definitely like it. So yeah, I'm going to go in, so this is the second listen, see what I noticed this time, and I'll still comment throughout, so there will be the pauses. If you want to watch the video without the pauses, just watch the original video. This is here for the analysis, commentary, etc. So yeah, this is the second listen, and I'm actually really looking forward to the second listen. So yeah, let's get right to it. Yeah, so that entire first section right there is, especially on a second listen, I'm really savoring the composition of this piece and really, really enjoying it. It's just immaculately constructed. Just so great. I love the keyboard lines and the melodies and builds and the chords that they're using. It's just it's really powerful and builds this dramatic sense of atmosphere, and just it's really really awesome. And as I said, I'm not into clicky drumming and drums that I feel are lacking sort of a swing vibe. This drummer, what he is doing is actually really, really good. And so it's possible that I am starting to get past my genre biases, which is something I, aim to do with a lot of these reactions, and just my general musical journey is to look at stuff I don't like and learn to appreciate, to learn and grow as a musician. As mentioned in another video, I would go to jazz camp every summer in high school, and I'd always sign up for the stuff that I had the least respect for, that I thought could help grow me as a musician and understand more. So, like, I signed up for beatboxing classes, even though I thought beatboxing was dumb, and then learned to respect it. So that's sort of the goal with, like, going outside my comfort zone musically. And on a second listen, I'm already, like, really locked in. Like, I paused the first video much sooner, but I was just enjoying that section so much. Yeah, so like, they're freaking killing it. They're doing a great job. Yeah, so I mentioned in the first reaction the elusive lost reaction. I talked about how I was having trouble latching onto the melody because I just like wasn't understanding it. I listened to a lot of different kinds of music from a lot of different parts of the world, like a bluesy pentatonic melody resonates in my soul. A Japanese bittersweet melody resonates in my soul. Chinese melodies, Korean melodies, American melodies, British melodies, and like sort of like a lot of the Scandinavian stuff is sort of like one of my weak spots melodically, where just like it doesn't compute as much in my brain. But listening to this again, I'm actually able to latch onto the melody much more than I did the first time. And I think there's maybe just like something about my perhaps inability to recognize the patterns as easily because I don't listen to that kind of stuff as much. And I'm generally not as into the operatic vocals. And it's sort of like, the soaring high soprano stuff typically doesn't work for me as much, but there are some similar artists that I enjoy. Like, I love the music of Jim Steinman. I think Blackmore's Night, Richie Blackmore's band is a really cool band, kind of like this. Some Mike Oldfield solo stuff kind of has similar vocal melodies. And I think also, being less hardline about my taste than I used to be, where I'm trying to really grow and expand. And so there would have been a time where I just would have stuck my nose up at power metal and such and symphonic metal. But I think the older I get and the more open minded I try to be, the more I appreciate stuff. And like my bassist is super into this band and keeps trying to get me into them. But I'm definitely enjoying it much more on this second listen right afterwards. So yeah, this is cool. Great pulse with the bass and drums. Yeah, the bassist and keyboards are definitely my favorites in this band. Very good chord change right there. Yeah, and she's a really great singer. Just really excellent range, being able to sort of alternate between like the really high soprano stuff and those like sort of like siren vocals, and then digging deeper more into her alto register and just that the visceral power that you get from that. Because typically, sort of a sweet spot for a lot of singers is you want like a male tenor and a female alto. Like that range of the human voice tends to be the most enjoyed in pop music, or maybe for me. But yeah, she's doing really, really great as a singer. And once again, like as I'm listening to this a second time, I'm able to appreciate the song much more than I did the first time. And I still liked it the first time. So yeah, maybe sometimes this second listen format isn't that bad. Yeah, and as I mentioned in my last reaction, the elusive last reaction that got corrupted. I was very surprised by that solo because it was a more simple, tasteful solo, and I was expecting something a little bit more flashy for the genre. And so in that way, like the restraint really impressed me because it wasn't what I was expecting at all. It's just here's just a well composed, simple little solo, which I thought was just a really cool choice. So yeah, let's get back to it. Yeah, this next section coming up is great. Yeah, this entire section, it speaks to the composer in me so much. Yeah, just very atmospheric, building tension, it's so good. It's so good, this section right here. Absolutely beautiful. Kingdom Hearts-esque. Now it's Pirates of the Caribbean, which is also in Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, so I was testing myself to see if I would appreciate that more the second time around, because what they were doing, they were sort of allowing that melody line to repeat, but they changed the chord progression underneath it, and that kind of shift in chord progression is actually sort of more common in this kind of music in like the symphonic metal scene, and that kind of shift doesn't register well in my soul. Like it's just like, you know how just you hear something and it just like immediately you respond to it and just like, hell yeah, that's awesome. It's that it doesn't happen with me that way. When I'm like, oh, I was liking the other thing more. Why'd you do that? Is sort of where I come at with it. And so I was testing to see if knowing it was coming, and you know having that a little bit of predictability and familiarity with it would help me appreciate that change up more. And actually, I still wasn't as big on that section. Where actually that maybe is my favorite melody line of the entire song, but I don't like the change in the chord progression of what they have going on there. And you know that entire little section, like melody wise, very similar to Blackmore's Night. So maybe like, you know, Blackmore's Night is just like the less metal version of Nightwish, essentially. Actually, yeah, it's probably a pretty good comparison. Just like Blackmore's Night is like, what if Nightwish was a little bit less metal? And that's what you get. And as a guy who's more of a rock guy than a metal guy, that's probably why I'm like, yeah, Blackmore's Night, hell yeah. And you know, and also I think the melody lines in Blackmore's Night are a little bit more predictable. Which makes it more enjoyable for me. Because I tend to like a melody line I can latch onto, and so if I'm spending a lot of time like guessing where the melody's gonna go, like, you know, I'm not against like surprises in a melody line. I think you should be creative, but I think if it's just like if I can't like grab onto something, it's hard to know like where I'm sitting musically in a piece. And I am able to latch onto the melody lines more the second time around, but they're still not as grabbing me viscerally as some other pieces. But I am enjoying it more the second time around, and I gave it an A the last time. So, yeah, let's get back to it. Very great part right here. Yeah, great little build right there. Nice little Manowar-esque section. Yep, really great. And there's fire, so it's sick, bruh. Great drum fill. I said that last time. It's a good drum fill. Excellent vocal right there. Yep, she's great. And once again, once again, I'm still tickled pink and amused that they end with a trash can ending on a pentatonic riff. Because when I think of symphonic metal, my first thing I think of is like a pentatonic riff. That's a joke because pentatonic is like bluesy and hard rock and very very distinct and separate. Jokes. But yeah, so second listen to the song, I definitely liked it more than the first time I heard it. But it didn't move me more emotionally than the first time, where I was just like, I was having more fun with it, but I was really hoping that the piece would connect with me more on a second listen. And I think part of it might be, I'm more of a song guy, and I think maybe the live version of the song is maybe I'm not able to cue in as much on some of the intricacies of the songwriting, and maybe the vocals are, less in the mix of the live version, and so I'm having trouble like really latching onto that vocal melody in a live context. So that is one possibility with it. But I would definitely say it's a strong song, and I like a lot, and I would definitely want to do some more Nightwish. I in the past I've had trouble getting into the band, and I think a lot of it has been me thinking, having biases against the drum sound. Just a clicky kick drum doesn't work for me, and I'm not a metal guy. I'm a rock guy, and I think that's an important distinction. Like, you look at me and it's like, what? He's got like a leather jacket, and he has long hair. He should be into Pantera and stuff. I'm not. Like, it's not my thing. I think there's a certain point where you get too heavy and you start to lose melody and songcraft, and I don't think that's what Nightwish does, like, at all. They're not like so heavy that you lose songcraft, but like there's a certain heaviness of guitar tone that is just unappealing to me, where it's just like, oh, that's just a hair too heavy for my taste. It's like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Like, this guitar tone is too soft. This guitar tone is too heavy. This guitar tone is just right. And so I have my sweet spot of enjoying, like, the 70s, 80s hard rock kind of stuff. And then once you get into, like, the 90s guitar tone where it has, like, all that low end, and, you're tuned to drop D with all that low end, it typically, sometimes, exception to the rule, but typically I don't enjoy that as much. So that guitar tone and that drum sound are two biases I have against this kind of music. But I recognize compositionally it's very, very strong. Like, all the movements, the sections, the way that things build is really, really brilliant. And the melody choices, even though they're not necessarily working for me a lot of the time, I recognize like what they're doing on a technical level, and it's actually very clever. So melodically, even though it's not emotionally resonating with me, I'm looking at the craft of this, and I'm impressed by it. So just because it's not clicking and like touching the core of my soul the way I want it to, especially with these lyrics which are so good, doesn't mean that I don't recognize like how good it is. So I'm hoping what I do as I listen to more Nightwish, and please recommend more songs for me to react to, I'm hoping to find that song where I can latch onto it more, where I recognize its quality on an intellectual level, but then just like, love it, and it makes me want to cry and stuff. That's the goal of what I'm looking for. And with this one, I think in isolation, the lyrics are are a tearjerker, but I think the melody that they chose to use for it didn't work for me personally. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on the song. I was a little bit worried about this one because, like, oh man, is the Nightwish army just going to give me shit like the Tool army did? But I feel like I was pretty positive towards this. But, we'll see what happens. I got a lot of nasty comments on those Tool videos, y'all. So I'm a little bit nervous when, go to my most popular video. I was trying to make sure I said it right. Which, by the way, is a funny video. But yeah, so go to my most popular video. Was telling me, like, hey man, just to warn you, like, the Nightwish fans are super hardcore. So try to go easy on the song. But one of the things you're going to get on the channel is honesty. So if I don't like a song, I'm going to tell you. This one, generally positive toward. That's the video. Be sure to do the liking, the commenting, the subscribing, all those things, and have a good one, everyone. Bye.